Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. President Bola Tinubu has sworn in Ambassador Desmond Akawo as the new Commissioner of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The new Commissioner took oath of office shortly before the commencement of the first meeting of the Federal Executive at the State House. Ambassador Akawo, who is an experienced diplomat and administrator, was a commissioner for water resources and rural development in Rivers State. The present administration has declared intention for radical change in infrastructure development, and the commissioner says he is aware of the importance of revenue mobilization towards the actualization of developmental aspirations.
Is that we still have quite a lot to extract from our blue economy. We have a lot to extract from the solid mineral. The mono economy that we have today is not comfortable. Of course, it will not going to be abandoned, but these two new areas, as well as culture and tourism, I believe my contribution will really help in making sure that our revenues are shored up.
President Bola Tinubu has condemned the recent spate of kidnappings and bandit attacks in parts of the country, describing the developments as disturbing, ungodly and sinister. The president, who received a delegation of Jamiyat Ansarudin at Tijaniya, an Islamic organization, at the State House, said while security agencies are acting with dispatch to immediately address the current challenge, all required resources, policies and plans will be rolled out soon for the massive education of Nigerian youths. The president said education is the antidote to the troubles agitating the nation, adding, there is no weapon against poverty that is as potent as learning.
We will get our teachers and their owners involved in an education process that will be relevant to the future of this country. It is crucially important for us to promote knowledge if we anticipate development throughout Africa. Please embark on special prayer. Embark on proper education for our youths. Kidnapping, banditry is not the way of Allah. We must work for peace, for economy to grow better.
We look forward to the actualization of presidential earlier resolve to work with the people. Also, particularly on the Al-Majri, we are sure your government is very committed in trying to tackle that menace, and we are ready to collaborate.
Grow better.
The Nigeria COVID-19 Action Recovery and Economic Stimulus (NG Cares) program is set to come to a close by June 30th, 2024. The program, designed to provide immediate relief to vulnerable Nigerians, smallholder farmers and MSMEs affected by the pandemic, has successfully completed 2 rounds of assessments by the independent verification agents. In light of the approaching deadline, the federal government has inaugurated the Federal Cares Steering Committee to ensure successful completion of the program and efficient disbursement of remaining resources.
IDA, the World Bank give both international development, what is known as International Development Association loan, which is interest rate is about 1%. So we have reached the limit of what we can borrow under this cheap sourcing. So if we disburse quickly, we can free off the envelope so that where we need to borrow and we go to the World Bank, we'll be borrowing cheaper money rather than now where we have exhausted the cheap source, only the relatively more expensive.
As of December 2023, the total earnings by the states and FCT from the program after the two independent verification agent assessments amount to 210 billion naira, representing 56% of the total credits. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says his administration will provide the needed logistics support to security agencies to effectively combat banditry and other security challenges in the territory. The minister disclosed this at the Security Town Hall meeting in Buari. Onoze Yakubu reports that the minister's visit is to enable him interface with Buari residents and also commiserate with them over the unfortunate incident that occurred recently in the council. Security agencies, traditional and religious leaders, as well as other critical stakeholders attended the town hall meeting. Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State has condoled with his Oyo State counterpart, Seyi Makinde, and the people of the state over the Tuesday night explosion in Ibadan. As search and rescue efforts are intensified, he prays for the repose of the souls of the departed and that God grants affected families fortitude in this time of grief. We are now being joined by Kainde Omolosho to give us an update on the Ibadan explosion. Hello, Kainde.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, Kainde. Please tell us, has the cause of the explosion been ascertained?
So far, the cause of the explosion has not been ascertained officially, but investigations revealed that dynamites were kept in a house and fire engulfed the house, which resulted into the explosion.
Okay, now tell us, what is the number?
We can get so far, but officially.
Okay, what is the number of casualties and how are they coping or how are they faring at the moment?
Yeah, of the 15 patients that were brought to the University College Hospital in Ibadan, 9 have been discharged, while 5 are still undergoing treatment. One of the patients was brought in dead.
Oh, that's very sad.
The others are receiving treatment.
Okay, now seeing the extent of devastation, what is the mood generally in town?
Well, residents of Ibadan are in a sad mood as the extent of the damage is unprecedented. It's something that has not happened in Ibadan before. So they are in a sad mood. Family, friends are consoling their loved ones.
Now, what are the authorities concerned saying about this matter and what is being done, to forestall a future occurrence of such?
The state government, the Governor Seyi Makinde, visited the scene of the incident with the DG NEMA. The deputy governor was also there, and people were consoled, and measures have been put in place to ensure that miscreants do not attack the area, or rather take opportunities of the devastation to cut away goods that do not belong to them.
Okay, thank you very much, Kendi. That will be all for now. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm at the University College Hospital, where Professor Jesse Adebayo is with me. The Otebayo is a prof, sir. Can you give us the level of treatment that has been given to patients that were brought to your hospital?
Well,
treatment we are giving now are mainly suture or stitching of lacerations, insertion of a chest tube for one of the patients that had a rupture of the lungs and caused what is called pneumothorax, that is air in the chest cavity where it is not supposed to be. Then reduction of fracture. One of the patients had the lower leg shattered. The 2 bones that are there were shattered, so it's been reduced, but it will still go for surgery that will be done by the orthopedic surgeon to really fix what is called plates and nails so that you stabilize the fracture. And a number of them also came with multiple bruises all over the body that are being dressed. So like we said earlier on, 15 patients so far have been brought to the University College Hospital, out of which one of them was brought in dead and has been deposited at the morgue. The remaining 14, out of the remaining 14, we have discharged 9, and we have 5 on admission now with various degrees of injuries. One of them also has a blunt chest injury that we are still investigating to know whether to require the cardiothoracic surgeons to go in or not. Another one also had a head injury, done a CT scan of the brain. It only showed what looked like what is called contusion, a kind of heavy or vigorous shaking of the brain. All right. In all, they are doing well. None of them is in the intensive care unit or high dependency unit. They are all in the open ward and the accident and emergency ward.
All right, we'd like to say thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going back to the studio now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Kendi. Meanwhile, the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, has described the explosion that wrecked an area in Ibadan as tragic and a monumental loss. The NEMA boss stated this in Ibadan while on the spot assessment of the site of the explosion. The DG NEMA was received at the site by Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde alongside other government officials. The state governor thanked the federal government and NEMA for the swift response. Governor Makinde said investigation into the remote and immediate cause of the explosion have commenced with a view to identifying the culprits. The NEMA DG said all arrangements have been concluded to provide relief items to alleviate the sufferings of victims. He also visited victims receiving treatment at the hospital. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris Malagi has charged the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations to promote professionalism and excellence among members of the institutes. Haman Jabani reports that 24 new members were also inducted into the institute.
The inauguration of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations 2023 to 2025, elected on the 28th August 2023, is in line with the provision of the Act Cap N114, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which establishes the Institute as the nation's only professional body charged with the responsibility to regulate the practice and development of public relations in both public and private sectors in Nigeria. It is in the light of this that the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris Malagi, deemed it right to inaugurate the Governing Council to perform its duties and to use the body of knowledge in the Institute to create and to come up with relevant programs and activities to promote better understanding of the 8-point agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration.
I fully understand the importance of reputation for the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation and for the country as a whole. And our reputation is very important and dear, not just for all of us as professional colleagues, but for our country as a whole. The NIPR should design, in conjunction with government, communication strategies that will drive the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Recently, we have written to NTAs, various agencies of government, departments, to draw the attention to the provision of the Act, because we believe it will help us in understanding and improving the of our various organizations at this stage.
The President also inducted 24 new members of the Institute.
I believe my membership of this Institute will expose me more to this network and will also expose me to relevant literature that will help in shaping the work we are doing.
The institute assures the federal government of its support to better the lives of Nigerians. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
People in the riverine communities of Anambra State have called on the state and local governments to subsidize the price of life jackets for them. Franklin Onyekachi reports that they say this will help in ensuring their safety on the waterways.
Anambra State has riverine communities in about 5 local government areas, which include Anambra East, Anambra West, Obaru, Ayamelum, and Oka North. These communities have tributaries to the River Niger and the Omambala River. The major means of transportation in these areas is the water transportation through the use of boats and canoes. Most people in these communities embark on journeys on these waterways without the use of life jackets. What is their reason?
We're supposed to have it as a boat owner that we drive on the river, but because of the cost price of the life jacket, we cannot afford it to our passengers.
They no fee buy them because it's too cost. Share they get. Maybe everybody go fee buy them.
These school children go to school at the upland and return to their riverine base at Elenchere camp in Asaba. None had any life jackets. 9-year-old Chikamso and others have a plea to the state government and local government authorities.
Government jackets.
Some passengers will be scared once they enter inside the boat, because for them to enter inside the boat without life jacket is too risky.
The recent accident that took place at Ila there, so souls lost, goose lost. So we don't actually know the number of people that died because nobody wear life jacket.
A boat moving on the water, we ensure that that boat does not carry more than the number of passengers they're supposed to carry.
Niwa, Onitsha Area Office Manager, said they have mapped out series of sensitization programs for stakeholders in the maritime sector to address the challenges they have with maintaining safety on the waterways. In Onitsha, Franklin Onyekachi, NTA News.
And to talk more on maritime safety in Anambra State, we now link up with Franklin live from Anambra State. Hello, Franklin. Tell us, what are the safety measures that should be in place on the waterways?
All right, thank you, Ifoma. I'm reaching you from the harbor at Oseokwado in Onitsha North Local Government Area of Anambra State. The safety measures that should be in place, as we spoke with the area manager of NIWA, he said that first of all, they certified boats to make sure that they're fit and they are licensed. And then they frown on overloading. And then also they make sure that they abstain from night travels. That movement should be between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. But the thing is that most boat operators don't abide by these rules. They also talked about wearing of life jackets. And they have a challenge with this life jacket. Some people reject the use of life jackets because they feel that many people use it and they could contact skin disease from it, and maybe they see it as not being very healthy. They also talked about manifests. The recent accident that happened in Anam, they were coming from Ida in Kogi State and they had an accident at the waterways in Anam. The number of deaths could not be ascertained. It was put at 8. But when we spoke with some boat operators here, they said that the number could be more. There is no manifest, so the number of the dead could not be ascertained. They also talked about the NIWA marshals and the police patrol that patrol the waterways. They also embark on search and rescue. They were the ones that responded when this accident, the boat mishap happened, and they were able to rescue some people and recovered the dead bodies.
Okay, now Franklin, So what other efforts have been put in place by the National Inland Waterways Authority?
And talking about the way
and the state
forward,
government,
what the Anambra state government and NIWA, what they are doing to make sure these challenges are addressed. I spoke with the Anambra West Transition Committee Chairman, Felix Ikechi, and he said that they have a challenge, that inculcating this new culture of wearing of life jackets is actually difficult because the people are not used to it. Some have not even heard of it, so they have a problem with this. The people find it difficult in embracing this new culture. Even when we talked with them, when we were doing our reports, all the people we saw were not on life jackets. Both the ones taking off and the one coming into the harbor, they were not on life jackets. So the Transition Committee Chairman said they have embarked on advocacy visits to stakeholders in the maritime sector. They also have a Maritime Workers Union where they meet with boat owners, boat operators, community leaders, and they rub minds together towards sensitizing the people on the need for life jackets. And then the issue of manifest too. They said that they see it as very, very important. The NIWA manager told us that they have a plan with the Kogi state government so that boats that are coming from Kogi, they have the manifest, so they know the number of people in the boats, and then when they arrive here at
Thank
the
you
harbor,
very much,
the
Franklin. That will be all for now. Thank you very much for that
Transition
update.
Committee chairman visited the woman. They
Yeah,
had
okay,
two dead from Anambra West, 2 children aged 12 and
Thank you very much, Franklin. Nigeria is expanding its scope for countering violent extremism through engagement of young leaders to campaign against this security challenge. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Office of the National Security Advisor and partners are also taking measures to ensure communities take part in this campaign.
Young leaders from 12 states of the Federation and civil society organizations in an engagement with government officials focusing on preventing and countering violent extremism. It is the national policy dialogue, and the goal is to foster a safer and a resilient communities.
Youth are the fulcrum in every society, just as they are the future of a nation. So can they play a detrimental role and prevent the progress of a nation? Youth empowerment remains therefore a veritable means to fast track to allay our grievances.
Organized by the UN Office on Counter-Terrorism in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, provides opportunity for recommendations on youth's role in prevention, violent extremism, outline challenges and practical opportunities for future partnership.
We must know the needs of every average human being, and that is sustainability. How can I feed for myself? And this in a way addresses what solution would look like when we are trying to address this several issue.
Sometimes the solutions to these challenges seem far from reach. When we work together, we build our strength and amplify our power and ability to make change over time.
This national policy dialogue intends to build young Nigerian leaders' capacity in becoming change makers by directly supporting Nigeria's counter-terrorism policy on addressing structural problems and their implications on youths, a key priority of the Office of the National Security Advisor towards a whole-of-society approach. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide on the NTA. We'll take a break. The news continues in a moment. Do stay. Thanks for staying tuned. Now, the fight against illicit drugs trafficking and consumption is recording more success in Adamawa State as the Zonal Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Zone B, YOLA, adopted more strategies that led to the arrest of about 813 persons with substance worth millions of naira. Simon Asha reports that about 300 out of more than 1,000 cases of drugs-related offences have been prosecuted, with many others pending.
Menace of drug abuse in the society has become a source of worry and concern due to its devastating effect, not only to the healthy living of the society, but also to its socio-economic well-being. In order to curb the menace, the multifaceted campaigns against drug abuse and the upscaling of arrest and prosecution of unrepentant users and sellers rehabilitation of drug addicts, and reintegration into society by the Zonal Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Zombie Yola, is yielding a positive result to the fight against drug abuse in the society.
Smoking, but by the time we all come to the dealers, we have a reduction, in the dealers that used to be there before. Every now and then you see them, you say in this area we have this dealer, you have this dealer, you have this dealer. A lot of them, are no longer there.
So far, about 843 drug dealers have been arrested in Gombe, Taraba, and Adamawa State, with 294 convicted and 761 pending cases across the 3 states that made up the zone.
Able to make a season of 1,162,234.788 kilograms, of various type of drugs, and we're able to cancel that. We have rehabilitated 151 clients, and we've cancelled 265, clients that we have already know we've cancelled.
The Zonal Command further assured of its relentless effort to sustain the tempo so as to rid the society of drug abuse, among other illicit substances. In Yola, Simon Asha, NTA News.
And to tell us more about the fight against drug abuse, let's now join Simon Asha live. Hello, Simon. Tell us, how has the fight against drug abuse by the NDLEA supported the drugs demand and reduction program in the zone?
Really, it has really enhanced the fight against the drug abuse in Adamawa State, because the command, through the war against drug abuse in the state, which has been instituted across the nooks and crannies of Zombie, which comprises of Taraba, Gombe, and Adamawa states, has really yielded positive results, because through this campaign, the people have been enlightened and sensitized on the need for them to shun addiction or any kind of intake of illicit drugs or substances. And as such, about let me say 265 people have been cancelled, and 151 rehabilitated and reintegrated back into their own various communities. And as such, by so doing now, the intake of drugs in the state has drastically reduced. As the command says, it is not relenting, but to ensure that the people, no matter how, no matter the struggle, they are not going to relent, but to ensure that drugs has been drastically reduced in the zone.
Okay, we are aware that the zone comprises of Gombe, Taraba, and Adamawa. Tell us more about the arrests.
And so far, and in about 843 suspected people arrested in Gombe, Taraba, and hello?
Simon, we seem to have lost you there.
We have so far, we have 843 suspected persons arrested in those 3 states, 2 states, and out of these states, 174 have been convicted, and 761.
We seem to have lost Simon there. Thank you very much indeed. And we now join Michael Olale in our Lagos Network Center for more stories from that axis. Hello, Michael.
Former Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has given the assurance that the 2024 appropriation bill will focus on the successful implementation of pivotal projects that will foster the robust growth of the state and ensure the well-being of its citizens. The governor disclosed this when he signed the 2024 appropriation bill into law at the State House in Marina. S.A. Wamaka reports.
In December 2023, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu presented a budget estimate of 2.26 trillion naira for the 2024 fiscal year to the Lagos State House of Assembly for approval. After After due consideration, a few days later, the appropriation bill was passed by the State Assembly. The 2024 appropriation bill, titled Budget of Renewal, which has a total of 2.26 trillion naira, comprises 1.3 trillion capital expenditure and 952 billion naira recurrent expenditure. Assenting to the bill, Governor Sanwo-Olu says his administration will prioritize spending on infrastructure, environment, education and technology, just as it significantly raised allocation to security and public safety.
We therefore want to pledge to diligently work towards the completion of a lot of our ongoing projects and to successfully initiate new ideas and new endeavors that will bring about the team's agenda. I must therefore underscore the necessity of what we see as a collective responsibility at ensuring that we can have a successful execution of this budget.
We have done the needful. We've thoroughly looked at the budget proposal and we've done what is expected of us to do.
We moved on to the Budget Consultative Forum, which we held physically in the 5 divisions of the states, Ikeja, Badagry, Ikorodu, Lagos Island and Epe. This gave us a wider perspective of the challenges of citizens and residents and thus ensured contribution of all to the budget process in accordance with the state government's policy on inclusive governance.
The signing of the 2024 budget by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was witnessed by members of the State Executive Council, the Attorney General of the state and members of the State House of Assembly. In Lagos, S.A. Owomaka, NTA News.
As the compressive work on the 11.8-kilometer Third Mainland Bridge continues, motorists plying the alternative routes to Lagos Island from different parts of the mainland now have to endure hours of gridlock. With a 30-minute journey now lasting for an average of 2 hours, Yobobola, who monitored the situation on Ikorodu and Apapa axis of the state, reports that the traffic is further compounded by impatience of motorists and absence of road traffic managers along some routes.
Vehicular movement on the Third Mainland Bridge now has a scheduled time to allow motorists drive in and out of the highland. Motorists are taking advantage of the window to quickly connect to the mainland. The experience is, however, a sharp contrast for motorists going to Victoria Highland, Obalende and other parts of the island who now have to navigate longer alternative routes.
I have to spend like 1 hour just from Surrey to Mangrove. You know, it's not been easy at all.
Ordinarily, Surrey to Mangrove should have been
just 15 minutes. It's 15-minute drive. From Surrey to Mangrove is about 15-minute drive.
But now
I spent an hour.
Ikorodu Road, which is a major route for those heading to the island, has been experiencing an unprecedented influx. Hence, the traffic situation is becoming chaotic. Anthony, Onekpan, Ojota and other areas have become a nightmare for road users. With the rush hour still few hours ahead, many Lagosians are already stuck in this seemingly unending traffic gridlock. The situation is already worsened by the attitude of motorists who are eager to exit before the rush hour.
We spend longer time in traffic and that alone affects your mental state. By the time you get to the office, you're already tired and all. So hopefully they get it sorted out and they open back as soon as possible, because in the morning, in the evenings, everywhere is always blocked.
The traffic situation is very critical, to be sincerely. It's very critical because this is the way I followed. I've been going there through that way, my road to my work. And we plead to the government to make the renovation to be quick.
Apapa Road is also congested due to the closure of the Third Mainland Bridge, while Akpogmo Eko Bridge is relatively free as at the time of filing in this report. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. It's now back to you for the continuation of the news.
Many thanks, Michael. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, D.D. Wilson-Jack, has met with directors and staff of the ministry towards achieving improved quality of the public service. This is in line with the ministry's 2024 strategic plan that, apart from bureaucracies and official procedures, meetings will be held regularly for interactions to close communication gaps to end misconceptions. She listed 6 priority areas of the plan, which include acceleration of capacity building, talent management, institutionalization of the performance management system, improvement of the integrated personnel and payroll information system, institutionalization of innovation in the public service, digitization and staff welfare.
Service delivery, enhancing our nation's development trajectory. We can rewrite the narrative through capacity building, talent management, performance management systems, and innovation.
The Permanent Secretary believes that actualization of the goals and aspirations of the strategic plan will change the narrative associated with the public sector as one dominated by poor performance, stagnation, and self-interest, in contrast to the values of excellence and productivity. Minister of Youth Development is engaging the Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and Vice Chancellor of the Nasarawa State University. It is to scale up skill acquisition for youths with disabilities towards improving their sources of livelihood. Gofan Shaji Ungwani reports.
This meeting between the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, the Minister of Youth and Vice Chancellor of Nasarawa State University is dedicated to issues of inclusivity for persons with disabilities, especially the youth. The conversation is centered on increasing employment opportunities, scholarships, and adequate skills acquisition for youth with disabilities.
We have also in place policies by the government which says every person with disability who is admitted into Nasarawa State University will not pay school fees.
And of course, the 10% disabilities quota that was requested to be included in all of the ministry's activities, and I've assured the Commission's Executive Secretary that the 10% inclusion request would be granted.
Following expiration of the 5-year ultimatum for buildings to be made accessible for persons with disabilities, the Executive Secretary says enforcement will commence immediately.
As soon as we secure the presidential approval for the setting up of the Interministerial Task Force Committee, once that task force is set up, enforcement will start. Everybody know any public building will be spared.
He also noted that penalties will be served to defaulting agencies. In Abuja, Gofan Shaji Ugwani, NTA News.
For more reports on Nationwide, we now go over to our Enugu Network Center with Comfort as our guide. Good to see you, Comfort.
Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us in Enugu. 6 out of the 13 registered political parties will participate in the by-election for Ebonyi South Senatorial Zone on the 3rd of February 2024. The resident electoral commissioner, Ebonyi State, Mrs. Pauline Onyeka, made this known during an interactive session with the media and civil society organizations. Chinaza John reports.
The appointment of the senator representing Ebonyi South Senatorial Zone, Senator David Umahi, as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and his subsequent resignation from the Senate necessitated the by-election. The by-election process, which has already begun, with the conduct of primaries by only 6 political parties in Ebonyi State, informed the electoral umpire's interaction with the media and members of civil society organizations on the modalities already in place for a successful by-election and how they can collaborate with INEC in achieving a free and fair election.
I want to stress that it is only those who have their permanent voters' cards that will be allowed to vote. Adequate security arrangement is being made to ensure security of electoral personnel and materials before, during, and after the by-election.
The interactive session afforded participants the opportunity to discuss some grey areas witnessed in the last election, such as security issues, functionality of the beavers, as well as the assurance of by-election result upload to the IREF.
The elections will be conducted free, fair, credible, and our results will be transmitted to our voters. Avoid making unbiased or impartial reportage. We are all partners in this democratic process, and we continue to enjoy your collaboration.
The by-election will be held in 5 local government areas that make up Ebonyi South Zone, which has 870 polling units with 436,254 registered voters. In Abakaliki, Chinaza John, NTA News.
Governor Peter Mba has inaugurated the Enugu State's Boundary Committee with a charge to uphold high level of prudence, fairness, and justice while resolving boundary disputes in the state. Chika Ugu reports.
The committee is saddled with the responsibility of resolving intrastate and community disputes, as well as maintaining peace and tranquility among the various communities. Governor Peter Mba urged the members to ensure that their activities are anchored on impartiality, noting that boundaries are geographical expressions and as such should not create enmity among the people.
Resolving this dispute, we should also be very objective, where we can avoid the members of community, the various communities going to court. We should by all means do so, try and resolve this dispute.
The committee chairman promised to deliver on their mandate in line with the State Boundary Act.
That what may have increased the level of dispute may be climatic, in the sense that as the climate conditions in the world is beginning to get close to us, some areas where people had lived and tilled the soil for their crops are no longer fertile. So there's always the push.
The committee has as its members the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Commissioners for Local Government, Information, Finance, Enugu State Commissioner of Police, Acting Surveyor General, Controller for Immigration, among others. In Enugu, Chika Ubu, NTA News.
Taking a break here, Nationwide continues thereafter. Do join us again.
To promote healthy living and wellness among the workforce, Office of Head of the Civil Service of the Federation has put up a sensitization seminar on optimizing health and wellness for improved productivity for officers in the Federal Civil Service. This is in line with Pillar 6 of the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan, which aims at enhancing the value proposition for civil servants. Haman Jabani reports.
500 civil servants, 10 each from NDAs, are being trained on promoting healthy living and wellness among the workforce. Permanent Secretary, Service Welfare Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mahmoud Adan Kambari, says the role civil servants play are pivotal and their well-being is of importance to the success of the collective endeavors as a government. Hence, the training will give them knowledge on healthy living and preventive measures against occupational-related disorders.
Non-communicable disease has become a global public health challenge, casting a shadow on health and efficiency of our workforce. This challenge is further compounded by the stress and sedentary nature of civil service work. Today, we are gathering not just to discuss the challenges, but to actively seek solutions and strategy to overcome them.
We are also going to give them tips, the HR leaderships, to look at how to start and implement wellness programs in the organization. What is the benefit of this? When an employee is assured of the organization being concerned about their well-being, it's going to boost their morale and it's going to improve their psychological contract to that organization.
This kind of program shouldn't just be a lone ranger. There should be a lot of programs that will complement this.
I hope the federal government will help us in providing means of getting rid of these health issues.
The sensitization centered on mental health and resilience in the workplace, preparing for retirement and work-life balance, hypertension and overall well-being among others. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Let's now join Austin Edemodu for the latest in the world of sports. And that's Nationwide for today. We thank you for watching. I am Ifoma Ojita. Bye for now.